It was vintage September baseball. Two pitchers firing brilliant games, and two teams wondering who was going to break first. With 2 outs in the 8th inning, the Mets' worst nightmare stepped to the plate. Chipper Jones, in the spotlight for so many big moments for the Braves, found himself in another against R.A. Dickey. And Chipper delivered. His base hit up the middle gave Atlanta the only run they needed on this spectacular Saturday afternoon. It was classic Chipper, and it was indeed a fall classic. The Braves' push toward the postseason continues today. It's a beautiful day for baseball in Atlanta as we welcome you once again to Sunday Braves, our final home Sunday of regular season play as we wrap up our season series with our visitors from the Big Apple. The New York Mets are again in town. Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South is brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Make it a Hyundai Sunday every week on Fox Sports South. And happy Sunday, everybody. Joe, Tom, and Chip back with you for the wrap-up with New York. A classic baseball game yesterday. The Braves beating New York by a final score of 1-0. The magic number now at 7. And who better than Chipper Jones to come through in September for Atlanta?
Well, it's no surprise. I mean, he was the right man in the right place last night. And against R.A. Dickey, who had really stymied the Braves all day long, Chipper said, I had taken my home run swing the pitch before. I'd really screwed myself on the ground. I had to cut down on my swing here and try to figure out a way to get the run in. He did just that. And for Chipper, this is really no big surprise lately. He has been on fire over roughly the last month with great numbers, a .350 average over his last 33 games. And Tommy, this is nothing new. You've seen this before. What a comfort to have this guy this time of year.
No, it really is. And look, Chipper's talked about it. He said he feels good. His legs feel strong, swinging the bat well, and he's putting up great numbers. Look, I've been saying it all year long. Chipper Jones' presence in this lineup means a lot to this team. A healthy Chipper Jones that's swinging the bat well means an awful lot to this team. And right now, having him in the middle of that lineup puts a lot of fear in those opposing pitchers, and that's a good thing for the Braves.
He's in there again today and batting third for Atlanta. He'll try to support Brandon Beachy. The Braves' young flamethrower will try to make it 2 out of 3 for the Braves as we wrap things up here against the Mets at beautiful Turner Field. Go for Atlanta, looking for his 8th victory of the season. And he's got Ruben Tejada set to lead things off for New York. No Jose Reyes for New York in the leadoff spot today. So Tejada moves from second and plays short.
For the Braves, right-hander Brandon Beachy on the mound today, 7-2 with a 3.43 ERA. You look at his numbers there in his last 10 starts, 4-0 with a 3.03. Really done a nice job for the Braves in terms of giving them a chance to win ball games every time he's been out here lately. And as we said in the open, he really needs that.
And Joe, power, and more power from Beachy.
Fastball, good curveball, a couple of different curveballs, a good hard one and an off-speed curveball, good changeup, and an occasional slider mixed in there too that he's still working to improve on. 25 years old, 6'1", 205.
And high to Tejada, 2 balls, 2 strikes.
His last start against Florida, he pitched into the 6th inning. Gave up 9 hits, but he also struck out 10 that day and only walked 1. And again, got a no decision.
Pop fly foul into the seats. And the count remains 2-2.
For Brandon, his forward keys to pitching success against a team he has not faced before, the Mets. Early innings, 1st and 2nd inning, always seem to be the troublesome innings for Brandon. Hopefully he can get by that today. And as you just saw in that graphic, in his last 10 starts, he's had 6 no decisions, and he's had a string of 3 no decisions. He'd like to get a W today.
Fly ball to right. That'll chase Jason Hayward back a step or 2. And 1 away as we look at the rest of the Mets lineup, presented by their skipper Terry Collins. Tejada leads off. Jason Pridey batting second in center field. David Wright, Lucas Duda, Jason Bay, and Dylan G. Man, that the Braves have seen an awful lot this year. Having a good rookie season too. He's their pitcher today.
Yeah, it's funny. We've been talking about that. It's funny how different it can be in terms of a series. You know, we've seen Dylan G so many times this year, and for all the times these two teams play each other, it's hard to imagine that Brandon Beachy's never pitched against the Mets.
Same way that it works in Florida for the Braves. They haven't seen Javi Vasquez all year long. But
they're okay with it, I'm sure.
Yeah, especially lately, the way he's pitched.
He fired a shutout last time for the Florida club. And here's Pridey getting the start in center field for Angel Pagan today. Mets at 72 and 80. Really have stumbled here over the last week and a half. They've dropped 9 of their last 11 games. One of their big goals was, but obviously, to finish as close to 500 as they could. They're 8 under. There's another strikeout for Beachy, his first of the day, and 153 of them, extending his own Atlanta rookie record.
He's first among rookies, or the second, I should say, in strikeouts, but Dylan G's 4th. He's got 108. They've both had very good years.
Since Brandon's debut on September 20th, 2010, his 10.27 strikeouts per 9 innings is the second best mark among starting pitchers with at least 20 starts. So we keep talking about his ability to get the strikeout ball, and he keeps doing it.
And that's among everybody, not just rookies. Yeah.
High to David Wright. 2 balls, no strikes. Boy, did David have a big game here in game 1. 3 hits, 2 homers, 5 RBIs, and 2 runs.
The Mets couldn't say enough good things, though, about the outing that Tim Hudson yesterday, and it sure was a needed outing from the Braves standpoint. Outstanding effort. And after the Mets had that big Friday night, they didn't have much working yesterday.
Kind of reminded you of the way that Cliff Lee pitched against Atlanta up in Philadelphia. It didn't matter who that they threw up there that day. Braves were going to struggle to win. The way Tim Hudson pitched, it was tough sledding for New York. And David Wright aboard with the 2-out single. His good work continues in this series. And here's how the Braves line up defensively today. Matt Diaz gets the start in left. Look who's playing first base today, Martin Prado. Chance for Freddie Freeman to take a day off. Beachy and Brian McCann the battery.
Well, a couple of things factor in the lineup today for me, and that is Freddie Freeman's just 1 for 11 against Dylan G. And he's actually better against lefties than average-wise. Left-handers only hitting 190. So while you think, well, it's a good day for Constanza to play, not necessarily so. Diaz is in left field because of G's success against left-handers.
We'll see how that works out as Lucas Duda is the batter. 1 ball, no strikes to the Mets right field. This young man's had a big second half for New York. He might be playing himself into an everyday job for New York in 2012. Big numbers after the All-Star break. 36 RBIs. And now 3-0.
Everything's up so far. Got to get the ball down, maybe a little amped up here on this day game start, and not having faced the Mets before, but
coming off the heels of his teammate throwing a gem yesterday, yeah. I'm sure he wants to go out there and follow suit.
And a 2-out walk. The other thing for Beachy too, fellas, he doesn't really take the ball deep into games because of all the strikeouts he gets, but also a lot of full counts and 2-ball counts.
Yeah, I think that's something we've talked about during the course of the year with Brandon's games. It adds up. You know, the strikeouts are one thing, but a lot of times it's how you get that strikeout. If you get ahead in the count early, 0-2, and you got a chance to put a guy away, you can save a lot of pitches by being able to put guys away early like that and not have the count carry on into 1-2 and 2 and 2 and 3-2 sometimes, and that happens every now and then with Brandon.
And it shows up in how many times he pitches deep into the ball game. Only 3 of his 23 starts this year as he pitched more than 6 innings.
Yeah, there's a way to get strikeouts, and there's a way to get strikeouts a little bit more conservatively, so to speak, and he needs to learn how to do that.
Jason Bay tomahawks a ball to Chipper, and that'll retire the side. 21 pitches for Beachy in a scoreless top half of the first inning. Here come the Braves at home. Dylan G., the Mets pitcher.
Second.
Oh. Wouldn't it be? Yeah. Against Mets right-hander Dylan G. Here's how Freddie Gonzalez lines him up for the series and homestand wrap-up. Chipper Jones back in his number 3 spot in the batting order. He's been swinging a hot bat. Martin Prado getting the start at first. Matt Diaz in left, as we told you. And Brandon Beachy, of course, pitches and bats ninth.
On the mound for the Mets today, right-hander Dylan G. 12-6 with a 4.37. It's kind of been a tale of two seasons for him. Got off to a 7-0 start. So he was 8-1 there in April and June. Only 4-5 in the months of July and September. So he's hit a little bit of a skid here the second half of the year. So hopefully that, for the Braves anyway, that trend will continue.
Ball 1 to Braves leadoff man Michael Bourne.
Braves have played the Mets in what amounts to 6 series, 3 at home, 3 on the road, and Dylan G has pitched in all 6 of those series. His 4 keys to success, the numbers 1, 2, and 3 guys in the batting order this year, and actually for this season a 195 average. It's even lower than that for his career, so he handles the guys at the top of the order real well. And not so fast, my friend. That deals with his early season success against the Braves, but not so successful in his last couple of starts.
High pop fly foul and out of play. Bourne now a full count.
8 runs for the Braves and 10 hits in the last 11 innings against the Braves. 7 earned in those 2. So just when you thought maybe you had him under your thumb, you don't.
Michaels hit safely in 6 of 9 games for the Braves. 13 hits in that stretch. And putting up a good fight in his first time up in today's play. To first. Evans to the bag. And 1 out. Here's the rest of the Mets defense. Bay, Pridey, and Duda. Left to right in the outfield. Justin Turner gets the start at second. You know all about David Wright. And Josh Tolley behind the plate.
They are not a good defensive ball club. In fact, they are down near the bottom with the Cubs in terms of team defense. Cubs have made 126 errors. That's by far the most. Mets 112.
Martin drives the ball down the left field line. Will it stay fair? It will not. He tried to Carlton Fisk that ball, didn't he?
Yes, he did. A little early ambush. Got out just ahead of it a little bit.
Strike 2, says Tim McClelland, today's home plate umpire.
It'll be interesting to see where the Mets go. Because you look at their team, and as you guys were talking about in Friday night's broadcast, offensively they're a pretty solid team. But when you can't pitch very well and you can't catch the ball very well, it makes it awful tough for you to win. And
popped up on the infield. Evans at first.
And you have to really look at it and try and decide, well, is their pitching struggling because their defense, or is their pitching just not that good? And for this team going forward, you've got a lot of money tied up in David Wright. You got a lot of money tied up in Jason Bay, and a whole bunch of money tied up in Johan Santana. So, to look at this team to see how they're going to improve, obviously they would have to try and improve defensively, but I'm not sure where they can do that, and you have the question mark concerning Jose Reyes out there next year, who's one of the best shortstops in the game, so it'll be interesting to see.
That is the interesting dilemma. I mean, Santana's going to come back, but is he going to be Johan Santana? And certainly if you don't bring Reyes back, who leads the league in hitting, your offense will suffer.
And your defense will suffer, because he's as good a shortstop as there is out there when he's healthy. He gets to an awful lot of balls on that infield.
He's just getting a day off, too, by the way. He will play in every game the rest of the way. He's getting a day off today, and Angel Pagan has a little bit of a quad problem that he's been battling for the last 3 weeks. That's why he's not in center field.
3-0 count to Chipper. And he takes 4 out of the zone and is the first Braves base runner of the day. Dan 3 out of 13 against Dylan G.
Dan's hit a little dry spell here. 0 for his last 8, just 3 for 16 on the homestand. It's hard to stay as hot as he was.
Coming into the start of this series, Dan had hit safely in 59 of 69 games. That, of course, includes that 33-game streak. One ball, 2 strikes.
Well, if he wasn't awake, he's awake now.
Mm-hmm. G's fastball is 90, 91. He might really hump up to 92 on occasion. It's certainly good enough to keep you honest. You just saw a good slider and then utilizes the changeup to lefties.
And Dan chased the ball around his ankles and is retired in the Braves first. No score after 1 inning. Braves and Mets here at Turner Field. On Fox Sports South is brought to you in part by Academy Sports and Outdoors, by AT&T, by Delta Airlines, and by Ford. Final home Sunday of the regular season. Hard to believe we're saying that. The season always seems to zip by when you have a good club and a good year, and the Braves have both.
Well, it's odd, too, to have a final Sunday and not be the last home series with the season ending in midweek.
So we'll wrap things up with the Mets today and then focus on the Marlins starting tomorrow night down in Miami. Here's Nick Evans. He's the Mets' first baseman.
Now, is that something, and I admit I don't always pay attention, but is that new this year?
Yes.
Okay, I didn't think, because like you said, the season always seemed to end on Sunday, and the playoffs started on Tuesday or Wednesday, depending on what series you had.
Between that and cutting out an off day or two or during division and NLCSs, they're trying to shorten the time for the World Series so that they can get it done before November.
So they can get it done before it's snowing in some places?
Mm-hmm.
Good. That's a good thing.
1-2 to Evans. And he's down on strikes. Second strikeout for Beachy, and quick work. Got ahead of him, Tommy.
Well, he got ahead of him, and he put him away, and that's what I'm talking about. I think there's he can continue to be more efficient where it comes to the strikeout, and like I said, when he's got a guy 0-2 or 1-2, that's an opportunity. Put that guy away, be done with it, move on to the next guy, and as he gets more experienced, he's going to learn to do that better and better, and that is going to go a long way towards cutting his pitch count down.
Strike one to Tolle, next catcher.
The backstop here at Turner Field is like the old pitchbacks, where you throw into the screen and the ball come right back to you.
Yeah. One and one. Tolle's had a good series. 4 hits in his last 7 at-bats, and hitting .300 on the button in his last 67 games.
Getting some swings at some high fastballs.
Yeah, like you say, he has been up in the zone, but when they've gone up there to try and get it, they can't catch up to it.
There's number 3. Here's another Georgia Power energy saving tip, fellas. Did you know Georgia Power offers its customers a free in-home energy audit? To sign up for an audit in your home, go to georgiapower.com.
That's a good thing. Then you know what you need to work on, where you need to have some insulation, some caulking. I'm good at caulking.
I got to be honest.
Are you?
I mean, that's a good idea, but there's something about that word audit that's just a little bit uneasy.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, especially in April. You want your energy audit any month but April. Justin Turner, the batter.
I'm actually the worst caulker in history.
Are you?
Truth be known. I've got it all over me. I don't have enough paper towels.
More on you than the window?
Oh, yeah.
You're weatherproof when it's all over.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, Tim. Earth to Tim. Earth to Tim. It's a curveball. And a butte.
Beachy, by the way, is chasing a record with his next strikeout.
Which is?
156 strikeouts for a rookie by Irv Young in 1905, the Boston Beaneaters. That's the modern franchise record. Beachy has the Atlanta record all by himself.
I like his chances of getting it.
It would take a miraculous finish, though, to catch Bill Stemmeyer in the 1886 Beaneaters. And he needs one more strike. And he has it. Beachy strikes out the side. Brian McCann ready to lead off the Atlanta second. Matt Diaz, Alex Gonzalez coming up in a scoreless game. Atlanta, glad you're with us. After an exciting weekend of college football, it's another exciting week coming up in the SEC, and breaking it down is one guy who knows a thing or two about SEC football. Former Kentucky Wildcat Tim Couch is joined by Randy Cross, Kevin Carter, and Christina Acra. They're all SEC football all the time, and they want to hear from you. Tune in Wednesday night to SEC Gridiron Live at 10 Eastern on Fox Sports South.
Did I mention that I beat Smoltzy in our fantasy football matchup this week?
No.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
It was really good, too, because he was just talking smack on Thursday night after the Thursday night game because he had a quarterback, and I just quietly kept my mouth shut, and Wes Welker's 99-yard touchdown pass kind of changed things a little bit, and he wasn't happy.
Tortoise in the hair.
Exactly right.
Well, we know John doesn't have the hair part. 2-0 to the can, way outside, ball 3.
That sounded like a Maddox joke. He would have been all over that.
Really?
Yeah. Every chance he got to get on Smoltzy about his hair, he was on it.
There's a strike to Bryan. 24 homers for him.
I asked Bryan before the game. I was teasing him about it being an Iron Man and being in there again today, and he kind of just blew air out real deep, and I said, "Are you getting to bed early?" And he goes, "Yep."
G got him on the inside corner.
See, that's what makes you mad as a hitter, is that you got a book on this guy and how he's pitching you, and you know he's getting left-handers out with a change-up, and then he runs that nonsense in on your hands, and you're kind of expecting the change-up, and then maybe a cutter.
Looked like a cutter, or, yeah, a little bit harder slider.
That's just not fair. Do what you're supposed to do.
But he continues to be tough on left-hand hitters, does G. But a righty's up there, and Matt Diaz, and he lines one over Tejada's glove and takes a big turn around first.
Fastball, too, riding up and in on him a little bit. And hit it just out of the reach of Tejada. Tejada may have jumped a little too soon for that one, too.
Yeah, it looked like he didn't get a good look at it. Tough to see here sometimes during day games.
So 1 on 1 out for Alex Gonzalez. The Braves shortstop has hit .357 in his last 13 games. That 3-day rest in St. Louis has done his offense a world of good for the Braves.
Somehow, some way, I think it's made him less anxious. He's been a little more patient on his counts. He hasn't started to swing quite as early, trying to, as you said, Tommy, earlier, ambush some pitches, and it's really helped him.
I think sometimes a lot of, it happens to pitchers too, but with hitters, it's that confidence thing, and they're not feeling good about what they're doing. They want to get in the box and right away get a pitch that they think they can put in play and take their chances. And when they're feeling better and confident, they have a tendency to stay back there and be a little bit more patient and really look for a pitch that they can hit.
Kind of slow the game down.
Mm-hmm. And 2 real close pitches, and he just looked him right into Toley's glove.
Yeah. As hot as he's been, he might get a green light here, 3-0. I think you heard Ron Gant talking before the game on what he was watching for today, and having talked to Chipper about G and needing to make him get the ball up in the zone. Don't try to hit his pitch early in the count if it's something certainly that starts at the knees or below.
Ooh, good rip.
This follow through may have gotten Josh Toley too. Ooh, yeah, on the back of the glove, I think.
Runner at first, Diaz goes, swing and a miss. And the throw short hop second. Well, the Braves might be fortunate there. The follow-through of Gonzalez carried him right into the path of Tolley, who made the throw to second base. No argument for the Mets. Diaz steals the bag, but there are 2 outs.
Might have been fortunate for Alex, too, because he almost took this one right between the eyes when his follow-through carried him in front of him.
So Jason Hayward's the batter. The Braves pitcher Brandon Beachy's on deck. First base is open, and they won't chance things with Hayward. G will walk him intentionally.
You know, Brandon's only got 3 hits this year. He's 3 for 40. He's driven in a run, and he struck out 21 of his 40 at-bats. Okay, I know that. I can see the numbers. But he takes a pretty good hack, and there are a lot of times where his outs are sharp ground balls. So maybe he can help himself here and just shoot one through a hole somewhere.
Matt Diaz singled, stole second. He's there with 2 outs. Jason Hayward at first. And Beachy ready to go. Ground ball to David Wright, and he will apply the tag to Matt Diaz. And that retires the side. We go to the 3rd inning. Fellas, is something that everyone in baseball has been saying an awful lot in this 2011 season. Year of the Pitcher 2, it has been called, as we check it out on our Academy Sports and Outdoor Leaderboard.
Since 1968, yesterday's shutout, 301 in the season. Wow, most since 1972. What do you attribute that to, Mr. Glavin?
Ooh, well, lots of things. You know, I mean, obviously the steroid era, it has a little bit to do with that. But, look, I've been saying it, I think, since day one, and I think you guys agree. You see it more than I do. There's a lot of good pitchers in the game nowadays, and, you know, you don't have that middle relief guy to beat up on anymore, or that 5th starter for rotations to beat up anymore.
That's
I mean,
for sure.
Guys, you know, teams are throwing quality arms out there, and you know, it's getting tougher and tougher for the hitter.
Dylan G's the Mets pitcher. I think it's really apparent in middle relief now. You used to see middle relief guys being the 6th or 7th best starter on a club. Now those guys coming in the 5th and 6th inning are throwing 95, 96 miles an hour. You have the teams carrying 12, sometimes 13 pitchers. They're all very, very fresh. 5 strikeouts for Beachy, and 4 in a row.
So now he passes Irv Young. He the one of the great drop ball.
Did you face him?
From the Bean Eaters.
Wow.
I'm sorry, there's something happened to my headset.
Here's Tejada. What do you think, Tommy? Should we lower the mound to give the hitters a chance?
Yeah, they'll probably be talking about that, won't they? Move the fences in, lower the mound. Yeah.
Tell them what's coming.
Yeah.
To your point about the relief pitchers, too, Chip, most of those guys aren't 6th and 7th starters anymore. They're actually relievers. They are short-term 2-inning guys. Very rarely do they work even 3 innings anymore, where they're coming in blazing.
I mean, the old days, it was the guys in the bullpen, with all due respect to them, were guys who weren't good enough to start. Now guys are being drafted out of high school to do exactly what Joe said.
Yeah, there's a lot more of that specialization part of it, whether it's bringing guys out of college or high school, or grooming them their last couple of steps on the ladder in the minor leagues. It's become much more of an art in that regard. But you're right. It used to be, well, if you're good enough, you're starting. If you're not, we'll put you in the bullpen and we'll figure out how we can use you. And it's just not that way anymore. I mean, look, you're looking at scouting reports now, and you see a guy throwing 93, 94 miles an hour, and they're talking about it as an average fastball. I mean, it's like, boy, oh boy, if that's average, that was pretty good back in the day.
Yes. And it seems like, too, baseball is so cyclical, but there's the pitch of the decade. The 80s, it was the split finger. The 90s, the slider. Now it's the cut fastball. Takes time, I guess, for hitters to catch up with and make that adjustment. You agree with that, Joe?
I do, and it does sometimes become the pitch du jour, in terms of who's having the most success and what kind of pitches is he throwing. And a lot of the circle change evolution came from this guy and the way the Braves did things. Charlie Lebrand had a great one that people were seeing the Braves pitchers on the Superstation across the country, and I think that spread across young players and coaches, teaching them how to use that. A lot of factors.
Full count again to Tejada, who steps out for a moment.
To take it a step further, too, and sure I won't get through it before the pitch is thrown, but you're seeing pitchers use much more of their repertoire on both sides of the plate, too. It was very taboo. Like I've talked about when I first came up, to throw a changeup for me to a left-handed hitter was taboo. You can't do that. Can't do it. And over time I learned, well, why not? It's a good pitch for me. Why can't I use it against lefties? You're eliminating half your repertoire. Most of the time you see guys throwing breaking balls away to hitters. Now you see the front door slider, the front door curveball. And it's all right. I'll never forget when I first started throwing my changeup inside to hitters. I'll never forget. I was in Philadelphia pitching. Scott Rowland was still with them, and I threw him a couple. I struck him out a couple times, and I remember seeing him in the tunnel walking out after the game, and he just looked at me and he said, "Great, now I got to worry about the changeup on both sides of the plate." And it is. It just gives hitters. It's a little bit tougher to cover both sides of the plate when you can't eliminate a certain pitch in one area.
Good at bat for Tejada. Beachy lost him, walks him with 1 out. Braves Bike Night is coming up next week, Tuesday, September 27th. Actually, it's a week from this Tuesday. Ride your motorcycles to Turner Field and see the Braves and Phillies. For $30, you get a game ticket, a parking pass, a Bike Night T-shirt, and a donation to the American Diabetes Association. For tickets, visit Braves.com/Bike Night.
I wonder if they'll have a parade, drive around the ballpark.
Maybe TP could be the,
what
do they call it, the Grand Marshal?
Grand Marshal.
Yeah. He or Freddie Gonzalez got a bike too. A couple of them, I think, thanks to Brian Jordan, who gave him a motorcycle for allowing him to wear his number when Jordan came back.
1 strike to Pridey. Runner goes, swing and a miss. McCann's throw, not in time. Fourth steal for Tejada.
Good pitch to throw on for Brian. The throw just, a lot of times the throw's going to tail a little bit when the catcher comes out of that squat and into his throwing position, but that one just stayed and held its line, and if it tails just a little bit, they probably get him.
Beachy takes care of Jason Pridey. The last 5 outs are strikeouts, and 2 away here in the third.
That fastball up in the zone has just kind of been like the invisible. You know, the guys are seeing it out of his hand, but they're not getting to it.
David Wright has the lone Mets hit.
Good one. Something else, too, about that high fastball. The Braves have a pretty good batter's eye here at Turner Field, but on day games, the sun reflects off that batter's eye, and it's a little lighter than it is at night. So it might be a little harder to pick the ball up today.
Letter high strike. Chipper at third, ends the inning. 6 strikeouts for Beachy through 3 innings of work, and the top of the Braves order goes after Dylan G. We welcome you back to Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South. It's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers with the finest analysts in baseball. Joe Simpson and Tom Glavine. Chip Carey back with you before a big crowd here at the TED. Braves have drawn very well this homestand. And we have some spies in our midst.
Boy, I'll say.
A base hit for Bourne up the middle. Good start to the third inning. And that's the second Braves hit of the day.
We'll give those fans a break. They're in town for the football game.
Yes. But we do, as much as it pains us, have to congratulate the Phillies. They clinched the division last night.
Yep. You know, what's that, 5 in a row now for them?
believe so.
Yep. So, we got a ways to go.
Yeah, they do.
So, now they're in their, preparation mode. So we'll see how, that last spot in their rotation pans out for the postseason and how that all goes.
But as we've said at the start of the homestand, everybody in Braves country has special dispensation for this weekend only. You want the Phillies to win.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't want them to have wholesale changes today and giving everybody a rest against the Cardinals.
Right. So today and tomorrow, then you can go back to disliking them as much as normal.
Hey, they deserve it. They played well all year long. There have been times where they didn't hit much, but their pitching, as everybody expected them to do, kind of took over.
But how about the Giants as you look at those standings?
Yeah.
They've come roaring back all of a sudden.
Yeah, you would expect. I don't know what the Philly schedule is after Monday, but there's that unwritten rule in baseball. With the Cardinals obviously being in a playoff hunt and out of respect to the other teams, I'm sure there'll be some guys out of the lineup today, being a day game after a night game, but they're going to play those 2 games to win, and then depending on who their schedule is after that, that's when they'll give guys a break and a breather.
And they finish up the season here, and they'll be getting in postseason mode for those 3 games. That's why it behooves the Braves to go ahead and clinch the wild card as early as possible.
And let's not get too far ahead either. The Giants 5 games behind Arizona. They have the Diamondbacks head-to-head 3 more times.
Do they?
Yep. So that race isn't decided, nor is the race for the wild card quite yet. Braves' magic number is 7 over St. Louis.
I believe last time I was here, we were talking about all kinds of guys being thrown off that team in San Francisco, so maybe that lit a fire a little bit.
High fly ball left center. Pridey got a good jump. Martin gave it a ride. Back to first is Bourne. 1 out for Chipper Jones, who once again tormented the New York Mets. And Chipper Jones, the subject of our Geico quote of the day today.
Came from David Ross, and it was a beauty. You get him healthy and swinging the bat well, our lineup is really dangerous. Even when he's not swinging well, he takes his walks and gets on. He's a presence, as Tommy's been saying. A bad Chipper Jones is better than a healthy lot of us. And I don't know if I could say it quite like that, but I agree.
I think you know what he meant, right?
Yes.
Yeah. And what a difference for the Braves. Remember, last September, Chipper was hurt out after tearing up his knee in Houston. And he has heated things up from July onward.
Well, there's certain guys in baseball and on teams that have that presence that, I've talked about and David talks about, and Chipper certainly is one of those guys. And a 75% Chipper Jones is better than a whole lot of guys.
As a pitcher, do you pitch to the bubblegum card, or do you pitch to what he's doing today?
90% of the time you pitch to the bubblegum card.
Really?
Yeah, you do. You know what the guys are capable of doing, and you always have that in the back of your mind that this guy is who he is, and this is the guy you don't want to let beat you. Now, there are times when if they're really in a funk, you might attack them a little bit more and kind of find out. Particularly early in the game, you might have a situation where there's 2 outs and nobody on, and you might say, okay, I'm going to find out how bad you're swinging it, and that'll go a long way towards kind of either reaffirming that he is struggling or not, but most of the time, you're still not going to let that guy beat you if you can help it.
I think I remember Smoltz deciding that one day, pitching to Barry Bonds. I remember him saying, I just thought we're not supposed to throw him anything middle in, fastball, but I really think I can throw one by him here with 2 out, nobody on. And I don't think it got to the second deck, but it was almost in the second deck here at Turner Field.
Yeah, we've all done that.
2-2. Well, Chipper yesterday, the lone RBI in the game. 153 lifetime RBIs against the Mets. And this ball tailing away from Pridey is going to drop in safely. Bourne around second. They're going to wave him around. Here comes the relay throw. It won't be made. Bourne hustles around and scores from first on a Chipper Jones double, and it's 1-0 Atlanta.
Nice swing here. He was fooled on a breaking ball that stayed up, so he was able to get a good piece of the bat on it and out of the reach of Priddy. Now, Jason Bay, a little hesitation there from Michael to make sure it dropped, and then it was off to the races. But Jason Bay just made a horrible relay throw, a short hop to Tejada, where he had no chance to make a play at the plate.
Yeah, it wasn't a great relay play, and seemed to me the backup, he could have been a little bit tighter on the backup as well. But
yeah,
nice job by Michael Bourne once he recognized that ball fell in, of going all out, and Brian Snitker being aggressive and sending him.
I wonder if that was part of it. Maybe he just thought that the Braves would be happy second and third, and kind of a rainbow throw-in from Bay, too.
And we won't know if the Braves would have run on Reyes and not Tejada. But they did, and score first for Dan Uggla with a runner at second, 1 out. And ball 2 inside. The Cardinals play tonight. And it's a good matchup. Carpenter and Hamels at Citizens Bank Park. Pop up, shallow left. Tejada going out. Bay is under, staggering, and he's there for the second out.
Oh, got a hanger. He didn't even want to watch.
Yeah, he hit that ball 500 feet. Unfortunately, it was in the air, not on a line, because that's where he wanted to do with it.
So 2 outs for Brian. Brian took a called third strike. The Braves have 3 hits in the game. 2 of them by left-hand batters, which has not been a problem for G most of this season. In fact, he's been very good against lefties. But he trails by 1.
You know, Brian's average has taken a hit since he came back from the disabled list. His average at 276 coming in, but one thing that's still been consistent, clutch hitting. 310 average in this situation.
Two and two.
Always good to see kids at the ballpark. So you sit down there by the ball boy, and that's an entertaining part of the game because he's down there kind of sitting back in his chair. Yeah, should have seen the ball Prince Fielder hit at me earlier this year.
Yeah.
One hopper, barely got my glove on it, but I saved like 3 people that were sitting here. He's got a lot of stories.
Those are strategic seats, too. I mean, as Brian takes ball 4, I mean, if everybody wants to come to the ballpark and come away with a foul ball, you make friends with the ball boy in the corner and say nice things about his fielding technique. He might flip you a baseball, right?
Right. Either that or he might purposely whiff on one so it goes into the seats and you can get it.
hope everything's all right down there.
I was going to say,
line there.
He's looking like he just made an error to lose the game down there.
Must have been a Florida State fan, huh?
Yeah.
You know, Matty Diaz is. And he takes ball one outside.
Matty was just upset this morning. He said, I knew when Florida State put in their backup 130-pound quarterback against Oklahoma, it probably wasn't going to go well.
Ball, one strike. Big days here in the state of Georgia for the Bulldogs and Georgia Tech. Joe Sooners knocked off Florida State. They'll stay number one.
Some Georgia fans still trying to go in camo as to not be seen.
Got to get to 500 first, Joe. 1 ball, 1 strike. Head foul back.
Matt in there today against G for the reasons we outlined earlier, but hitting against him is a little bit like hitting against the left-hander in that he got a fastball to hit, which he might get during an at-bat against the lefty. He's going to see a changeup against the lefty. He's probably going to get an off-speed breaking ball here. No, but it worked. There's not a lot of difference hitting off G than there is a lefty for Matty today.
So he's 1 for 2, but the Braves strike for the game's first run. Michael Bourne singles and comes around on Chipper Jones' double to left center. After 3 innings, Brandon Beachy and the Braves lead the Mets 1-0. Beachy has struck out 6, leads 1-0. Yesterday's game ended exceptionally well for Craig Kimbrell as well.
Came on to do what he always does, or seemingly always does anyway, but as automatic as you can get. 3 punch-outs there to end the game, and back to his dominant self after a little hiccup there.
So Craig Kimbrell, one of 2 pitchers all time with 40 saves and 120 or more strikeouts. 40 saves and 120 plus strikeouts. Who is the other all time?
40 or more than 120.
Smoltz would jump to mind.
Now, is that Braves only or is it everybody? It's everybody.
Still.
Eric Gagne?
Thinking Lee Smith.
Line drive foul. It's in the seats. Off the bat of Lucas Duda. 1 ball, 2 strikes.
I don't think of Trevor Hoffman and strikeouts at all.
Rob Dibble? Did he ever have 40? Bobby Thigpen. Oh.
High drive to right. Jason battles the shirt sleeves, and he comes up without number one. But you know what? Trevor Hoffman had that devastating changeout. It sounds so funny to say it that way. He got a lot of strikeouts with that pitch. But could he have had that many in a year?
There are a lot of choices here on this deal. Goose Gossage, Raleigh Fingers.
Well, Mariano just got his 601st save. His name hasn't come up.
I don't see him as being 120 strikeouts, though.
120 broken bats, yes.
Yeah.
Well, I'm going to have to throw a dart at the wall today.
I kind of like the Goose Gossage one. Back when Goose was pitching, it was 2 or 3 inning saves,
he was getting 2 or 3 inning saves, so he had an opportunity, but did he ever have 40?
Yeah.
It'd be tough to pitch enough games when you're going 2 innings to get a save to get 40 saves.
To put it in perspective for Kimbrel, 73 and 2/3 innings, 123 strikeouts.
And that's how many games has he been in? 80 something probably.
75. Hot fly foul back behind the plate. Bay stays alive.
See, I don't know if Goose Gossage back in the day. I don't know if he's getting in 75 games a year, throwing 2 innings here and there. That puts you up over 100 plus innings as a reliever. Mike Marshall.
Mike Marshall was in 108 one year. I think that's the number.
How about the man that closed games for the Braves last year, Billy Wagner?
That's a good call.
That's a good one. But just think of how many Craig has struck out this year, and then try to equate that to somebody else that you've seen that's just as dominant and powerful in the strikeout category. That to me spells hard throwing, can't see Lee Smith, shadows of Wrigley Field, something like that. So I probably won't pick him.
Well, Tom's the pitching expert. Let's put it on his shoulders.
Oh, yeah, great.
Oh, a flinch but no call. Jason Bay walks.
Sherwin-Williams painting the corners. It's about the 3rd one of those today on our Fox tracks.
See, that one I don't understand. The other one, the breaking ball high in the zone. I mean, it's just hard for umpires to call that breaking ball that's belt high or chest high. But that pitch right there, that's the one as a pitcher you're working on in the bullpen.
Trying to keep the ball down. Maybe the fact that Tim's about 6'7", maybe he just can't focus in on that low one.
Yep, looks low to him.
Nick Evans was the first of 4 straight Mets that struck out. And Beachy getting ahead. Brandon's pounding the strike zone today. Sounds odd to say that for a kid that's got 3 walks, but as we just showed you, a couple of them looked like they were borderline calls that he didn't get.
Tell you something else he's doing, Tom. Yes, he did. That I guess is part of the growing up process. But he's throwing different fastballs today too. He struck out a bunch of guys with that high fastball we saw earlier at 94. But he's throwing some 90-mile-an-hour two-seamers too that he didn't use much early in the year.
No, and that's, again, you're right. It's part of figuring out what you're capable of doing and trying things, and look, you got a 4-seam fastball, you throw 92, 94 miles an hour, you can ride up in the zone when you want to. And then, oh, by the way, I switch it over to a two-seamer, and it's 90 to 89 to 90, takes a little bit off. That's 2 pitches within 1 pitch that really you're not changing much of anything other than the grip on the baseball.
Let's see if he can finish off Evans. Little flare into right field. He just punched that ball. And with a 2-strike count, New York has runners at first and third in the 4th inning.
Golly. First of all, Bay shouldn't have walked. He was out. But look at this swing. Huh?
Yeah, that was the I really don't want to, but I can't stop it. Up, base hit.
Well, and kind of a half swing. I don't want to swing, but now that I've made contact, I'll try to follow through as much as I can to make it look like I was really trying to do that.
Yeah, sometimes you make a good pitch and it's a bad result. So now he's got to hunker down and try and get that ground ball double play.
Josh Tolley's the catcher. And down the strike. Tolley's hitting to 7 double plays this year. The Mets have hit into 103 of them. One reason why, fellas, the Mets have struggled so mightily over the last 11-12 games. Situations just like this. They have not been a particularly good situational hitting team. That's hitting .225 with runners in scoring position in their last 12 games. Potential tying run at third here with 1 out. And a cue shot back to the mound. Beachy will have but 1 play. He's upset with himself.
But that's okay. He may have gotten a double play, but the fact that he knocked it down and recovered and kept the guy at third base, that's okay. He's got first base open. He can pitch around Turner and go to Dylan G now, because this guy Turner that's coming up has one of the best averages with runners in scoring position of anybody in the league. Got an out. That was the key. Just retire the pitcher and you get out of the inning. National League hitting with runners in scoring position. Chipper second to Joey Votto and Justin Turner 1 point behind him. Not bad. Daniel Murphy of the Mets on the disabled list with a knee ligament injury that he suffered against the Braves.
So here's G. Does have 3 RBIs, but he has struck out in his lone at bat today.
Mets been leaving a ton of guys on base to go with what you're talking about, Chip, with runners in scoring position. The last 7 games, 66 left on. They've left 3 on already today and have 3 out there right now.
Ball 1 to Dylan G. Excuse me, strike 1. Tim McClellan deked me.
You forgot to wait.
Sorry. He got me. Now it's ball 1. 1 ball, 1 strike.
Far enough.
So it's full now. The runners will make their moves. He walks the pitcher and ties the game. So Bay scores. 1-1's your score. Evans at third, Turner at second, and give Dylan G his 4th RBI.
So now it is a big deal.
Now it is a big deal. But no, I mean, I still think he made the right play, did what he had to do. But look, sometimes that's a difficult position to be in as a pitcher. You're here, you walk a hitter to get to the pitcher. It's kind of a no-win situation for you as a pitcher. You're supposed to get this guy out. That's what you've set up, and all the while you're telling yourself, okay, you got the pitcher up here. Don't walk him. Don't do anything stupid. And sometimes that's what you lead yourself right into.
Now the top of the order up in a tie game. And a quick chat from Brian McCann. Beachy back on beam with strike 1. Fly ball to left. Diaz going back. Still going back. It's over his head. 2 runs are going to score. Here comes G around third. Relay throw won't be made. Tejada doubles home 3 Mets runs. And all of this coming with 2 outs. And New York leads 4-1.
Tejada's one of the guys today for the Mets that's had some pretty good swings at the high fastball. Fouled off several before flying out in the first inning, and then eventually coaxed a walk out of Brandon after fouling off a few pitches and connected on this one.
Yeah. How many times do you see it that the guy is giving the guy the catalyst in their lineup that you worry about the most a day off, and he's the guy that ends up coming through with a big hit?
So a 3 RBI stroke for Tejada. And all of a sudden the Mets in front 4-1. 3 runs on 2 hits, 3 walks.
And all scored.
Beachy's gotten Pridey swinging twice. Hasn't been able to lay off that high fastball. A 35-pitch inning for Beachy. Brandon earns his 7th strikeout, but 3 walks in the 4th inning alone. 5 in total for the day. And a double by Tejada with the bases loaded turns the game into the Mets' favor. It's a 4-1 score. 5 of them. And now he will take a bat in his hands here in the 4th inning. He's the 3rd hitter due up for the Braves, trailing by a 4-1 score. It's all college football and it's all new. Need we say more? Join Sammy Linebaugh, James Bates, and Tommy Bowden in the new college football show every Thursday night at 7 and 10 on Fox Sports South. They're breaking down all the biggest matchups in the South every week. Don't miss it. The new college football show tomorrow at 7 and again at 10 on Fox Sports South. Now Dylan G has a lead, 4-1. Driven down the left field line, and Alex knew it. Long gone. He pounds that ball into the seats. His 14th homer.
And his 2nd this year off Dylan G. High fastball. Got on top of that one. Won't know what was said until after the game, but right before this ball was hit out of the ballpark, Josh Tolley had gone to the mound before the inning started, and my summation of what he might have said was, you know what, you just got the lead. Let's have a shutdown inning right here. Let's get this first guy, go after him, get him out, and get on a run here. So much for that.
Yeah, I would venture to say the conversation probably went something like that, and exactly, so much for that. So
Jason bounces the ball to second. Safe. Infield hit for Hayward.
Never dogs it down the line, and that's why when you hustle, good things can happen. Good call down there by Marvin Hudson, too. Well,
good as far as we're concerned.
So a chance for Beachy to help himself. Let's see if Beachy will follow the advice and tips that Bobby Dews will feature with Joe Simpson. Another great Sunday school feature, The Art of Bunting. Nicely done. His 6th sacrifice.
That at the top of the strike zone. Nicely done.
Nicely done. And again, for Brandon, look, he had a bad top of the half of the inning, obviously on the mound, gave up some runs, and I'm sure that mentally he's still a little upset with himself. But you got a solo home run. Now you got an opportunity to get a bunt down and get a base hit, and inch that much closer to getting this thing back to even and starting all over again. So good job by him right there, and see if we can cash in with a base hit.
Michael Bourne scored from first on a Chipper Jones double in inning number 3. A chance for his 48th RBI if he can come through here. A hot shot under the glove of Tejada. Here comes Hayward around third. Ball bobbled in center. Bourne will stand at second. 4-3. It looked like Tejada never saw it, and Pridey never fielded it. And Atlanta takes advantage, down a run now.
Well, that's that bad defense that we've talked about earlier. And, again, it was a ball earlier in the game that looked like Tejada didn't see very well, and didn't look like he saw that one well either. And then Pridey just adds insult to injury and boots it coming in, and Michael Bourne alertly takes the extra base, and now it's a 4-3 ball game with a tying run on second base.
It's a single, an RBI, and an E8 on Friday.
The one thing you can't do when you play in the major leagues in the outfield, especially on a field as plush as Turner Field is and as thick as the grass is, you can't look up to see where the runner is. The ball has a tendency to snake on you when it's rolling in the grass like that and hugging the ground. And if you're not tracking it right into your glove, it'll have a tendency to move on you a little bit if you look up too soon. And maybe that's what happened to Pridey.
So now Martin a chance to chase home Michael Bourne. Braves answering a 4-run top of the fourth. And here's this subject of our Georgia lottery hitting the jackpot. Martin Prado coming back to life.
More Martin type numbers.
Line drive to left. Fourth hit of the inning for Atlanta, and Chipper Jones is up with runners at the corners.
Watch Michael Bourne, low line drive. He's not going to run into a double play. Had to make sure that the ball got over Tejada's head. That's why he couldn't score. Chipper's RBI double in the third inning put the Braves on the board first. Scored Bourne from first.
What's the word we used in our opening comments? Resiliency. Remember, the Braves struggled in the first game back against the Marlins, came back, won the series. Lost the first game against the Mets, came back yesterday, won 1-0. Gave up 4 in the top of the inning, have scored twice here and are down only 1 now.
Don't go, Martin. That way. Only reason you want Martin to go is if that thing goes all the way to the backstop or something. But if he goes and they open up first, they probably put Chipper on. And right now he's swinging it better than anybody. And always swings it well when he's got guys in scoring position.
G walked him on 4 pitches in the first inning. He's in danger of doing it again in the fourth and loading the bags. Ugla's next. Base is loaded.
As you've said many times, Tom, sometimes the open base is not at first.
Yeah, he didn't look like he wanted any part of Chipper and went after him like he did have first base open. So kind of a half-hearted effort there to see if he could get Chipper to chase something. But as good as Chipper's swinging it right now, he's not going to do him any favors.
They've got a left-hander and a right-hander Chip in the bullpen. Herrera and Carrasco are loosening up.
Chance for serious damage for Dan Ugla. G struck him out with a changeup in the first inning. And Dan hit one, as you said, 500 feet straight up. Pitch he just missed last time. And a slow roller toward David Wright. He's going to have only one play. Ugla's ground out ties the game. Bourne scores. 77 RBIs for Ugla. Everybody else moves up to second and third, and the Braves answer the Mets. It's 4-4.
Hit too slowly with Bourne running to be able to give Wright a chance to come home. He looked home, and maybe anyone else running, he's got to play at the plate, but not with Michael Bourne. Mets will pitch around Brian McCann. This game has been a
Festival of walks. The Braves have walked 5 Mets. McCann will be the 5th Brave to earn a free pass today. So the floor is yours, Matt Diaz. 2 outs.
Matt got a base hit on a fastball. He struck him out on an off-speed pitch next time up.
Popped up. Evans at first. And that'll retire the side. The Braves get 3 runs in the 4th inning. Alex Gonzalez with a long homer to left. Michael Bourne an RBI hit. Dan Uggla a ground out. That ties the game as we head to the 5th. Inning. 4-4 after 4. New life for Beachy. He's got the middle of the Mets order coming up.
Got to be a great feeling for Brandon to get that 4 spot kind of wiped off the board for you.
And Tommy, now it's his turn to have the shutdown inning.
Well, this is where he's got to kind of get a hold of himself mentally. You know, like I said, I'm sure he came off the mound kicking himself after that last inning and the way it all unraveled on him and how it unraveled. And now your guys come back and pick you up. You got to forget about all that now. It's a nothing ball game and start over.
And with the pitch count climbing up now, as we mentioned at the start of the game, Beachy's not yet able to take games deep. Lots of strikeouts, lots of high count at bats. And factor in as well as he strikes out David Wright. His spot's due 3rd in the bottom of this 5th inning. So we'll see how it goes. Good start for him. He retires Wright.
Sherwin-Williams painted that corner, didn't he? I actually thought, boy, there's another one he missed, and then 30 seconds later, there's the ring up. 112 is the high for Brandon this year, pitch count.
Lucas Duda.
Well, I mean, I think if he gets through this inning relatively easily, maybe in the 100, 105 pitch count. The situation is right where he's got a bunt. They might let him bunt and go back out for the 6th inning, but they're not going to let him go much beyond that 112, especially this time of year where he's kind of getting into this length of the season for the first time in his career. They obviously have eye on postseason and wanting to try and keep him fresh there, so there'll be some of that will factor into it as well.
Speaking of fresh arms, Chris Medlin threw batting practice today and apparently came away from that feeling great. He's going to go to Instructional League and pitch a couple of games down there. Tommy Hansen apparently is on his way down as well. And even Jair Jurgens may make the trip with us.
I saw Tommy before the game and Medlin, and they're both fired up about going to Instructional League. I think they both leave today after this game to go down there and get ready to make their appearances there.
What a lift that could be if all three of them could participate down the stretch for Atlanta. More likely that Medlin and Hansen will be healthy enough to do that. You watched Chris today, Joe, throw that BP session. What were your impressions?
I was very impressed. He was cutting it loose, using all his pitches, and facing mostly left-handers, but also J.C. Boscan was in the cage as well. He would face a hitter, they'd do whatever they did, ground out, pop up, strike out, be a pause like any other hitter coming to the plate in the game. Very much game-type situations. Here's a look at some of it. And you can see by that delivery that he's airing it out pretty good. I saw him strike out Constanza. Was it Constanza on some change-ups? It was very effective.
Fly ball to right, and it drops in for a hit for Duda, his first of the day. And Jason Bay will be the batter with a man aboard for New York. The Braves alumni jersey auction's going on now at braves.com/alumni auction. Bid on game-worn. Let's try that again. Bid on game-worn alumni jerseys signed by former legends like John Smoltz, Dale Murphy, Phil Niekro, Steve Avery, David Justice, and regular guys like Tom Glavine. Bid today at braves.com/alumni auction.
That's a compliment. I mean, those guys are legends, but I'm a regular guy. I'm much more approachable than those guys are.
When would that be?
Payday?
Tuesdays around 4?
Anytime. Just so long as I don't have, my horde of children pulling at me, going somewhere, I'm a very approachable guy.
I give you 100% credit on that, because I know when you were on the road trip with us in Chicago, you're very patient with the horde of fans outside the hotel before you got on the bus.
Had to get treatment on the wrist from all those autographs he was signing.
Yeah, it was the credit card receipts from my wife being there, not the autograph.
Ooh.
What?
Yes, he did.
What, too? As we suspected, pitch count piling up. Christian Martinez getting ready in the pen.
Do a double play here, and let's see if might get into the 6th.
What happened? Bay on an 0-2 pitch. Evans hurt him in the 4th inning on an 0-2 count. Jason Bay singles. The Mets again threaten. And is that going to be all? Yes, it will be. Freddie Gonzalez is popping out of the Braves dugout. He will employ a double switch. So 2 on for New York. Nick Evans in the batter's box. Christian Martinez and another Brave on for Atlanta. Brought to you in part by Sherwin-Williams, by the Georgia Lottery, and by Academy Sports and Outdoors. Back with you at Turner Field. Game on the base paths for New York. 2 on, 1 out. Brandon Beachy out of the game after 4 innings and a third. He struck out 8, walked 5. We mentioned the double switch that Freddie Gonzalez employed. Martin Prado moves from first to left. Freddie Freeman checks in. He'll bat in the 9th spot for Atlanta. And Christian Martinez is the man that answers the AT&T call to the bullpen.
Right-hander Christian Martinez on for the 41st time this year, 1-2 with a 3.34 ERA. His job right here, hold the fort. Get a ground ball, get a couple strikeouts, get out of this inning, and give this offense a chance to go back to work. So a couple inherited runners out there. He'd like to leave them out there and give the offense a chance.
19 inherited runners, 6 have scored.
Line score for Beachy will show 1 rough inning, but 2 innings where he really piled up pitches, the first and that 4th. He leaves with 2 aboard here in the 5th inning.
Christian pitched in 2 games against the Marlins in that series, but he's had a few days off. Should be well rested.
Three and two to Evans.
When this game ends, you talked earlier, Chip, about it being okay to root for the Phillies in their series against the Cardinals, and they have that wraparound game tomorrow. Tomorrow's a day off for the Mets, but they go to St. Louis from Atlanta, so we can all become Mets fans after today.
I don't know if that's possible.
Nah, you're really asking a lot.
I mean, come on. We can all be Rockies fans, though. They're playing the Giants. And it's not going well. Giants have scored the first 2 runs of that game.
The Braves can come back, win this game. Philly wins the next 2. You really won't have to root for anybody. You can just worry about the Braves taking care of their own business.
Chipper at third. Fires to second. Ugg with a turn. What a play. Chipper handled a funny bounce. And Dan continues to hang in and turn that double play exceptionally well. He'll get the warm greeting at the dugout. Martinez gets out of trouble in the 5th inning. And we welcome you back to Sunday Braves on Fox Sports South. It's brought to you by your local Hyundai dealers. Joe Simpson, Tom Glavine, Chip Carey with you at the ballpark. Good game. 4-4 is your score, with Alex Gonzalez set to lead things off. You talk about a perfect day for a game. This is Chamber of Commerce weather. I believe 71 degrees or thereabouts at first pitch. Hardly a cloud in the sky. And the Braves trying to shave another game off their magic number. It stands at 7. Cardinals play in Philly tonight. Braves try to win the series over New York. Mile high pop. Friday in center. And it's back to trivia time. We've had a while to think about this, Tommy, so don't let us down. The AT&T U-verse TV trivia question. It's all on you. Greg Kimbrell, one of 2 all-time with 40 or more saves and 120 or more strikeouts. Joe thinking it over too. Can you name the other?
It pains me, but I got to go with Smoltz.
I know you were going there, so I'm going to spread the wealth. I'm going to go with Greg or with Eric Gagne.
I'll go Billy Wagner. I'll bet you it's Goose Gossage, but I'm going to stick with Billy Wagner.
Wow. Nice. Cheater.
Chumps.
1 strike to Jason.
Who told you?
I don't need technological help, Mr. Telephone. You got some bad info from somebody.
Well, he said, Tommy, at the start of this homestand, he said, you know, he had the off day, coming back. He stayed at home and read the baseball encyclopedia from page to page.
I did.
Well, it paid off.
Yep. Roller out towards second. Hayward beat one of these out. He's going to beat another one out as Turner can't come up with it. Justin saying, Jason, hit it someplace else, please. And that'll be an infield hit for Hayward, and that might end the day for Dylan G. It will end the day for Dylan G, so he can't win it. Amazing. 4-4 game, bottom of the 5th. Braves threatening with Freddie Freeman coming up.
Now it's time for our game summary. In the 3rd inning, Chipper Jones with an RBI double gave the Braves an early lead, scoring Michael Bourne. In the 4th inning, the Mets answered. A bases loaded double by Ruben Tejada. Gave the Mets a 4-1 lead at the time. And then in the bottom half of the fourth inning, the Braves answered. Alex Gonzalez with a solo home run made it 4-2. 2 more runs in the inning. Braves tied the game at 4-4, and that's where we stand now in the bottom of the fifth inning. 4-4 score, and the Mets have made a call to the bullpen.
Diminutive Daniel Herrera. He's been in 12 games since he got called up. He's 5'6", 175 pounds. Has an outstanding changeup that he likes to work that's very much like a screwball to right-handed hitters against lefties. A lot of breaking balls. Freddie Freeman came in the double switch in the top of the inning. He gets his first at bat of the day.
And part of Freddie's terrific rookie year is his ability to hit left-handed pitching. So we'll see if that holds true in this sequence. A respectable .251 average with 7 homers against lefties. Quickly 0-2.
So I would venture to say that in this, the year of the Mohawk, Mr. Herrera is not buying in.
No.
He's going with that Jeff Samardzija look. Cubs. Freddie getting a rest today, as we talked about, against Dylan G, that he had struggled against, but he's also in a little cold spell. First time in a long time his average hadn't been in the 290s, and he's 0 for his last 15. .67-mile-an-hour changeup / screwball there.
Mention hey, Brian McCann, you getting your rest at night? Might ask the same question of Freddie Freeman. These are uncharted waters for him. These number of games in this time of year for a rookie.
Yeah, these guys are all used to their season ending by now. Probably, I think about a week or so ago,
right.
And now up here they're really getting into the heart of the season.
This is what I love about baseball, though. You got a guy at the plate that's 6'5", about 230, and you flip the 6'5" around, you got 5'6", and he's on the mound. Any shape, size, or form can play this game.
And how about the at-bat by Freeman? Down 2 quick strikes, earns a walk. And that turns the lineup over to Michael Bourne, who's 2 for 3 today with an RBI and a couple of runs. If you like bases on balls, you're loving this game. That's the 11th walk.
So far, only 3 have scored, and those were all charged to Brandon Beachy in the 4th inning.
Slow roller towards second. Tejada is throw to first, not in time. Bourne's speed keeps the inning alive for Atlanta. Freeman forced out at second. Hayward at third. Bourne at first. Martin Prado the hitter.
Martin's swinging the bat well lately, as we talked about, and Chipper on deck swinging the bat the way he's swinging. You'd figure that Martin's going to see a pitch to hit here.
But I almost feel like Herrera would rather have a right-hander up there than a left-hander. Michael Bourne is 0 for in his career against Herrera, yet his changeup and that screwball spin he's putting on it is a whole lot more effective against right-handed hitters.
2.
Right-handed hitters against Herrera this year since he got called up are 1 for 10. Left-handers 1 for 8. 1 for 9 after Bourne's ground out.
So he's thrown back-to-back pitches in the upper 60s, 68, then 66. Let's see what he has in mind here. That one missed at 83 miles an hour low. 2 balls, 2 strikes.
And as a hitter, you just got to concede that. You got to know that you're not going to get anything to hit out of the ballpark, so hit something hard the other way. Try to get that run in.
He tried to. And that kind of swing you'd think is tailor-made for Martin Prado in this spot.
You would, but at the same time, I mean, there are some pitchers that as a hitter you think, yeah, but I still got to respect the fact that he might bust one in on me. I'm not sure that with Herrera he has to be concerned with that.
So that's outside. Now the advantage goes to Michael Bourne. He'll have a chance to run from first. Chipper Jones on deck. There are, however, 2 outs. High pop fly, shallow left. Tejada drifting out. He's under it and has it. And that will retire the side. The Braves threaten but fail to score in the 5th inning. And now we head to the 6th inning. Bottom part of the Mets order is coming up in a tie game 4-4. Season every step of the way with Game Connect at FoxSportsSouth.com. Game Connect tracks every part of the game with live stats, including putting the current pitcher and batter head-to-head. Plus, there's a Twitter feed that will show you what Braves country's talking about. Check out Game Connect at FoxSportsSouth.com. Josh Tolley for the Mets. Justin Turner, then the pitcher's spot due. To second. And a good start for Martinez in the 6th.
Attention Braves country, get ready to chop this house. Get Braves postseason tickets today at Braves.com and don't wait. Secure tickets to all the Braves National League Division Series home games now by visiting Braves.com or calling 745 3000.
Here's Turner. Mets using this month to see if Turner can be an everyday player. The reason for that is if they don't sign Reyes, I'm guessing Tejada would be choice number 1 to play shortstop for him. And Justin's had a good month at the plate, hitting .357 in September.
Murphy will be back by the beginning of next season too. He's another choice, another option. I don't know who's out there that would give Jose Reyes big bucks and needs a shortstop.
That's a good question.
Not the Yankees.
No, they already have one.
Maybe the Red Sox.
Red Sox could. St. Louis, San Francisco could use shortstops. Not sure they could afford them. Especially if St. Louis is going to sign Pujols.
And that's another big if. Turner, another ground ball to second. I guess the bigger question I would have with Reyes, he's a guy that's been battling leg problems the last couple of years. Do you want to take a chance giving him 4 or 5 year contract where he might miss 20 or 30 games a year?
It might end up being more than a 4 or 5 year contract.
Yeah, good point. Willie Harris will bat for Herrera, who did a nice job in relief. And he's had good luck against the Braves in his career. Ball 1 high. Barring a remarkable finish by the Mets, it's a stretch to say that they'll finish at 500 or better. But considering what they've been through, Terry Collins has done a heck of a job with this club.
Yeah, and don't forget they traded away Carlos Beltran and their closer, Francisco Rodriguez, to the Brewers. Beltran to the Giants, plus all the injuries, losing David Wright for 6 weeks at least, I think, with that bad back.
Ike Davis has missed almost the whole year. He's a 20, 30 home run guy. Very good defensive player. So Terry Collins and Sandy Alderson at the helm of the Mets seem to have their ship stabilized. Ground ball to the right side. Freeman will feed Martinez. Good play on both ends. Christian has a 1-2-3 frame. And as we head to the home half of the 6th inning, Chipper Jones leads things off for Atlanta. We're tied 4-4.
Sergeant Luis Tineo from Lawrenceville, Georgia, being honored here before the ball game, as the Braves do every Sunday home game. Standing ovation from the crowd, the players, everybody involved. Time now for the Coors Light Freeze Cam and the Cool Train. And how about this close play at first base off the bat of Jason Hayward, hustling. Ground ball to Turner, throw to first. Safe, says Marvin Hudson. But Braves will take it. That was Coors Light Freeze Cam, brought to you by Frost Brewed Coors Light.
Moving right along.
Now we go to the bottom of the sixth inning.
I agree with you. He sure looks safe on the live play.
So two-hit game for Hayward. And in the sixth, the Mets have a new pitcher. And it's veteran right-hander Miguel Batista.
Batista on for the 32nd time this year, 4-2 with a 4.10 ERA. Got a good number.
Braves have had chances to score a lot of runs today. They have 4. They've left 10 men on. And strike one to Chipper.
Neither starting pitcher really distinguished himself today, but I have to say, in Brandon Beachy's defense, one of his walks was intentional.
Oh, Batista with a wild flail came up with that ball.
Kind of punched at that one. But for Beachy, out of the other 4 walks, I thought there were a couple that were certainly questionable that could have been strikeouts instead of walks.
Yeah, no question. There were a couple that were probably strikes that should have resulted in outs, but I mean, that happens sometimes.
Yep.
And you got to find a way to pitch around those things.
Dan Uggla's ground ball out tied the game at 4 for Atlanta. It was in the 4th inning. Right after the Mets scored 4 in the top of the 4th, Braves answered with 3 of their own. Good cut. Braves baseball on Fox Sports South is brought to you by Miller High Life. This summer, find out how giving back bottle caps can give returning vets a piece of the high life. Go to MillerHighLife.com for details. I'm with Joe. I love that hometown heroes thing that the Braves do. See these guys come back, and they're, I think, in awe of the standing ovation they get here every Sunday, and it's certainly well deserved. Three and two.
Sherwin-Williams painting the corners, just off the corner, just missed.
I don't think Batista thought it missed.
No.
Liner into left. Funny how that works too, huh? Don't get a pitch, then the next one gets rifled someplace.
That happened to Beachy back in the 4th inning. A 1-out walk to Bay, and then Evans single right after. And it's hard to hit a ball any harder than Dan just hit that.
The Mets have pitched McCann carefully with men on base today. They struck him out leading off the 2nd. He walked in the 3rd, was intentionally walked in the 4th.
Totally trying to advise David Wright that McCann might bunt here. And I'm sure David's thinking, okay, well, what would you like for me to do about it if he does? I'm supposed to play over here.
Yeah, I'm not Usain Bolt. I'm not going to get there fast enough. McCann in the box. Pitcher spot due next. Eric Hinsky has grabbed a bat. He's hit Batista very well. He's our Delta Airlines on deck batter. Short hopped out to second. And the Mets turn the double play. Was that David Wright that made the turn?
It was.
So that'll be a 4-5-3 double play to retire the side. We head to the 7th inning. Top of the New York order is coming up. Good game in Atlanta, 4-4. By Georgia Power, by AT&T Universe TV, by Geico, and by Toyota. It's the 7th inning. Nothing decided yet. 4-4 is our score. Rubber game of this 3-game series. Eric O'Flaherty on for Atlanta in relief. He answers the AT&T call to the bullpen with Tejada, Pridey, and Wright coming up for the Mets.
Left-hander Eric O'Flaherty on for the 74th time on the year, 2-4, 1.05 ERA. He last pitched against the Marlins, going an inning, striking out 2.
Early start to the day today for Eric and Johnny Vetters and Craig Kimbrell. USA Today is in town doing a big feature on the Braves relief trio. So look for that next week.
He's had 3 days off. That's nice. After all 3 games against the Marlins, they had the Thursday day off, and then Friday and Saturday against the Mets. Tim Hudson did a great job yesterday hanging in there, going 8 strong innings. He gave everybody a day off except for Kimbrell.
Fly ball to right. And Tejada's the first out.
I got to ask you, Tommy, I was interested to read some of Tim's quotes after the game, and they involved a little bit of a slight mechanical adjustment he felt really helped him. One of them was his heel into the pitching rubber, whether he was angling his foot funny, and the other was wrist behind the baseball that helped his changeup. Can you speak to that?
Yeah, I think sometimes, and I think I've spoken about this before, that sometimes one of the most overlooked things in a delivery is getting your foot into the rubber in a consistent fashion, and sometimes you get in there. And again, I know this is something I struggle with from time to time. You get in there a little bit wrong, and your heel would be a little bit off the rubber, closer to home plate, which changes where your weight transfer is once you get into your delivery. So you start, for me, when I would do that, when you start to unload towards home plate, instead of your hips going towards home plate, you were kind of leading more with your butt, if that makes sense, because you were a little bit off kilter on how you got into the rubber. And then as far as getting your wrist behind the ball, you know, you hear guys talk about that a lot. You want to stay behind the ball. And if you envision what we would always talk about is it's almost like you're pulling a shade down where you want to stay behind it and go straight down. Sometimes, particularly with sinker ballers, you have you want to come down. You know, this is the baseball here. You want to be coming down through the baseball, so you're pulling down, creating backspin. Sometimes sinker ballers, when you're not maybe feeling real good about what you're trying to do, you try to help the ball a little bit, and instead of being behind the ball, now your wrist is just a little bit of an angle where you're actually trying to help the ball sink more, but in turn, you're really hurting yourself because you lose that spin that you're accustomed to having on your sinker. So, you know, for Huddy, if those were two little mechanical adjustments that he made in his mind, well, I think they were the right ones.
Broken bat by Pridey.
I just thought it was a great acknowledgement of that doesn't matter how long you've pitched or what kind of day you had yesterday, there's still things you got to keep in your head during the season.
There's always things you got to tweak. Look, and again, I've said it too. I can think of maybe 1 year that I had where I didn't feel like I had to tweak with anything. I felt comfortable from the start all year long on the mound. Everything I did was good. Every other year, you go through stretches where, boy, something just doesn't feel right. And you're always tinkering to try to make it feel right or make it feel better. And you know, for Huddy too, that's what makes Huddy a successful pitcher, is that he's on top of those things. He knows in his own mind when he doesn't feel right or he's not pitching the way he wants to, and that's what he's trying to get back to, not what people are telling him, if that makes sense. I think sometimes guys get too caught up in, well, I'm winning games and everybody thinks outside that I'm doing great, so I'll buy into that personally. Sometimes you have to be your own toughest critic, and I think Huddy is one of those pitchers that he knows when he's not feeling right, regardless of what the results are, and he's going to work hard to try and get that feel back, and that, I think, is an acknowledgement of that.
It's no different than for hitters. The hitters that go into a slump or something doesn't feel right at the plate, constantly tinkering and trying to figure out what is comfortable.
Right hammers that ball to center. Bourne going back, and he's got room. David Wright just missed. He hit it to the deepest part of the ballpark. And he's retired in the top of the 7th inning. 3 up, 3 down for O'Flaherty. Stretch time in a tie game at Turner Field.
Sunday school, and today we go to the Braves bunting guru, our pal, Bobby Dews.
You start off with your batting stance. So I've got my good batting stance here. I'm a little up in the plate, a little up on the plate. And if the pitcher begins to deliver the ball, then I drop the bat, and this is very important. You don't drop the bat down here. You drop the bat right by your ear. Take your right hand right by your ear, and you're out in front with a good athletic position. They used to square around this stance here, slightly open. We found out that the players feel more comfortable. They bump better from here. And Hank Aaron gave us a tip back in the early 90s when he was the farm director. And he said when the players when the third baseman crashes, first baseman crashes, and you got no place to bunt the ball, if you're like this and you fake bunt and hit, that's not going to affect them too much. But if you're in a good power position like this, and you square and they crash, then you come right back to the same position and get a good swing and keep them honest. Generally, they're going to throw the ball right in here. You wait on it, you watch it hit the bat, and as it hits the bat, you let the force of the ball bring your arms back. Now here's what you got to be careful about. When the ball hits this bat here, you don't want to bring the head of the bat back only, because that's going to make the ball go foul. You've already got your angle. You want to go down first. When the ball hits the bat, you give with your elbows coming back in towards your body, not the head of the bat, because you're liable to drop the bat or you change the angle and the ball goes foul.
As always, good stuff from one of the best instructors in baseball in any organization, Bobby Dews.
A lot of baseball knowledge in that mind.
You got it. And we thank him for helping us out on Sunday school.
So Eric Hinsky will start things off for the Braves. He'll bat for Eric O'Flaherty.
Eric doesn't know anything that Doozy was talking about.
Eric, that was Tom. He had a strike one count. Here's where the Braves all year long have been very, very good. 59 homers this year from the 7th inning onward. One here would put the Braves in front, 4-4. Hard hit ball. Turner playing the rover spot. Takes care of Hinsky.
And with one out, time now for the Coors Light Cold Hard Blast. And today it came from Alex Gonzalez again, who hit this high rocket off of Dylan G. High pitch anyway. The line drive wasn't so high as it hooked around the pole. And for Alex's 14th homer of the year, he's had a great homestand.
High fly ball left center field. That's going to get down. That's going to hit high off the wall. He just missed hitting one out here in the 7th. 2 more hits for Gonzalez. He's turned into a multi-hit hitting fool.
Who was it that Jason Bay robbed Friday night? Wasn't that Alex as well when he went up over the wall?
It was, yes.
And here he just misses, and it's another one of those inside sliders that they keep throwing him, and he keeps killing. Just missed getting it out of here.
So Alex with a true tee shot with one out in the 7th. That'll be the last batter that Miguel Batista faces. Braves have a potential go-ahead run on in the 7th inning. With a one-out double. And there's Tim Burdick. He's the man facing Hayward here in this inning.
On for the 69th time, 1-0, 2.95 ERA. Pitched twice in this series. Pitched Friday night and again yesterday. And he'll be on here with a runner on second and one out to face Jason Hayward.
Got Freddie Freeman, back-to-back left-hand hitters, and then if the lineup turns over to Michael Bourne, that's 3 in a row. That's why Terry Collins brings on Burdick here. The Braves will try to break through here and reclaim the lead. Braves led 1-0 after 3. Trailed 4-1 briefly, tied it up with 3 in the 4th to make it 4-4, and that's where we now stand.
Man, has he inherited a lot of runners. 60 for the year. How many games has he been in? This is his 69th game. So he rarely gets to come in with nobody on base or to start a clean inning.
Yeah, not starting too many clean innings.
At the risk of getting jammed and breaking your bat behind in the count to this left, you got to think about up the middle if you're Jason, or the other way. You're going to get some of that.
Joe, another example of if you're left-handed, you can pitch forever, right? Burdick.
That's what I've always said.
Started his pro career way back in 1994. He's pitched with the Royals, the Orioles, the Tigers, the Astros, and now the Mets in the major leagues.
Sometimes you don't even have to pitch for a lot of teams.
It's fun watching him just sit here and shake his head, isn't
and
it?
stew just a little bit.
I mean, the guy's doing a good job.
He's doing a great job. That's part of the deal. And Jason stays alive. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Ooh. How close was that? 2 balls, 2 strikes.
Sherwin-Williams painting the corners says it did, and that's one that Tim didn't call earlier for the Braves. So that evened up, and he's been consistent not calling it.
Jason spoiled a couple of good pitches now. 2 balls, 2 strikes. Burdack wins the battle. 2 out.
That was a fastball belt high.
First time the Mets have retired Hayward today. Line drive into right field. That's going to get down. Gonzalez will score. And Freddie Freeman, with a terrific rookie year, has put the Braves in front.
'73 RBIs for the kid. Breaking ball that was down. He went down and got it. Good piece of hitting. Braves lead.
See, that at bat to me with Freddie, that's somewhere along the line getting a good piece of information, knowing what Burdack tries to do, runner in scoring position, going up there looking for a pitch, and in this case a breaking ball, and then putting a good swing on it.
Couldn't agree more.
Yes, Sandy Alomar, who is a former Mets coach, was with him in Chicago with the Cubs, had a saying, you can watch the game or you can observe the game. Subtle difference.
Absolutely.
He was 0 for 4 against Burdick with 3 strikeouts before this at bat, and looked like he was sitting on that breaking ball. And it's so wonderful to see a young player who has a plan or has an idea when he goes up there of something early in the count to look for. And you don't always get a base hit on it. You might have a good hack at it, though, and foul it off that throws off what the pitcher then wants to do a little bit.
Yeah, but if you get in there with a plan and an approach, then you got a chance.
So 5 runs on 11 hits for the Braves. The Mets 4 runs on 5 hits. And Terry Collins and the Mets pondering Venters and Kimbrel. Rest away. Born down swinging. And that'll retire the side. But Alex Gonzalez continues his torrid hitting at home. His second extra base hit. And he scored his second run. Freddie Freeman drove him in with an RBI single. And after 7, the Braves are back in front. It's a 5-4 game.
Look at some guys that have contributed today. Braves got on the board with a Chipper Jones double early in the ball game, but then Ruben Tejada with a 3-run double in the 4-run fourth for the Mets put them ahead. Alex Gonzalez, though, sparked a 3-run inning in the fourth with a home run. He doubled there in the seventh, and Freddie Freeman, who didn't start today, has come in to give the Braves the lead with that clutch single in the seventh.
Fans, get your tickets now to see the Braves' final series of the season when they take on their NL East rivals, the Philadelphia Phillies, September 26th through the 28th. Purchase now to secure your tickets for this hot rivalry at Turner Field. Visit Braves.com or call 1-800-745-3000 for tickets.
And time for another AT&T call to the bullpen. Third one of the day. In the eighth inning, it's Johnny Venter's time.
And like O'Flaherty, Venters has had a couple of days off too. His last work, all 3 games in the Florida series. Thursday, Friday, Saturday off. Good for him.
Interesting article by Dave Cameron of Fangraphs talking about the Braves bullpen. The big 3 of Venters, Kimbrel, and O'Flaherty are first, second, and fourth in the National League in appearances. You see Johnny making his 81st today. Cameron wrote that at the turn of the decade, 112 pitchers had thrown more innings than Venters in relief, and 53 men had more games than Venters. So his postulate was that despite the large number of games that Johnny has pitched, he's not been overworked. And to Joe's point, the Braves have done a pretty good job here after the All-Star break of finding extra days for the trio of Braves relievers.
And I took from that story too, Chip, that as much as everybody's making a big deal about how many games they've been in, that historically it's really not that much, especially over the last 20, 25 years by comparison.
No, true, but I think there again you have to take into account the changes in the game, and you know the flip side of that argument would be, well, these pitchers that are going out there and throwing 35 innings or 35 starts, 200 something innings, well, what's the big deal? And I mean, guys back in the day were throwing 350 innings a year and starting back-to-back doubleheaders. I mean, so all that is true, but in this day and age, no matter how you slice it, going out there 80-plus times a year as a reliever is a lot of work, in my mind.
They're the most in the National League, and you see 3 Braves in that list.
I think the interesting thing to do would be look further, look at today's game and do a breakdown and look at guys like Johnny and see how many of guys have done that for 3 years in a row or 2 years in a row, and if they did, were they able to stay healthy?
One example that Mr. Cameron used in his article was Mariano Rivera. There was no discernible drop-off in his stuff after having back-to-back years, all those years that the Yankees were going to postseason play and winning World Series, and still was outstanding in postseason competition.
Yeah, I mean, and I think there's always going to be somewhat of the exception to the rule. I mean, look, everybody would love to have a guy like Mariano that seemingly you can just go throw out there 80-some-odd times a year and he just keeps going and going and going. But those guys are special. That's why he's going to be in the Hall of Fame someday. For the rest of the guys, it's they're a little bit more mortal than that.
Ground ball by Evans, right side and through after the walk to Jason Bay. Now New York comes right back in the 8th inning. They are not going quietly or easily in this series.
Nick Evans doesn't really show up until somebody walks in front of him, and then he's the best hitter in the league. Does a nice job of taking advantage of the hole.
So look who's coming up now for New York. It's Jose Reyes. He'll pinch hit.
Great numbers against the Braves.
Well, you knew you were going to see him sooner or later today.
Bouncing ball to second. The Braves will go to second, and that's all they can get. First and third for New York, 2 out.
Which presents now an interesting defensive situation for the Braves. Yeah, you prevent the go-ahead run from getting into scoring position, but you also allow a fast runner on first. Now, he hadn't played all day, so he may be a little stiff from having sat on the bench for 7 innings. But let's see how the Mets play it with 2 out if they try to get the go-ahead run into scoring position and let Reyes run.
And we saw that in New York, the make-up doubleheader. Reyes came on, pinch hit, reached, didn't run in a 1-run game. We'll see how, you're right, how Terry Collins play it and how Reyes' legs feel.
He is 8 for 8 against Atlanta in stolen bases this year, and that's the most against any opponent.
I know Jose obviously represents the go-ahead run, but from a defensive standpoint, you'd almost rather see him on second base, and you can, with Johnny on the mound and a right-handed hitter up, and you can play more conventional straight-up defense and take away that hole over there for Turner.
And Johnny missing to that same spot he's been missing.
And I think that's a byproduct of him having 3 days off and feeling strong. He's pulling off a little bit to the third base side and arms dragging a little bit, and he's missing away.
Bases are loaded now for New York. And Ronnie Paulino is announced. Roger McDowell to the mound.
Venters has been having some trouble with his command, giving up some hits, not having clean innings. He did have in his last outing against the Marlins a 1-2-3 8th inning on the last day of that series, and no strikeouts.
0-1. No place to put Paulino in a 1-run game.
Remember, the Braves have already walked in 1 run today.
That was the pitcher Dylan G who earned that base on balls. Then Tejada doubled home 3.
Might have to call another pitch of some sort.
Well, I mean, that's sometimes I think Johnny's problem, especially when he's strong, is that front side gets out a little too fast. He's throwing a little bit too hard. His ball's moving all over the place. It's tough to corral that. And when you're all over the place, Tim McClellan is not going to give you a borderline pitch like that.
No.
And Venters just walked Paulino. The Mets have their second bases loaded walk of this game. And for the second time, it ties the game.
That's 3 walks in the inning. And none of them intentional.
So new life for New York. 5-5 is your score. Peter Moylan grabs a baseball and he starts to warm up. It's the age-old question: rest versus rust.
And that's, that's just getting ready to say, that's kind of the unintended consequences. You give a guy like this rest, which obviously is a good thing, but sometimes too much rest is not a good thing.
Little flare over first is going to drop for a hit. 1 run scores. Here comes Turner to the plate. The throw is going to get him. But a bloop single by Tejada scores Jose Reyes. Turner thrown out at the plate to end the 8th inning. But New York plates a couple of runs against Johnny Venters, and they take a lead. It's 6-5. Braves coming up. 2 hits, but more importantly, 3 walks. Unable to protect a 1-run lead. Now the Braves down 6-5 as Ronnie Paulino earned a bases-loaded free pass. He's rewarded with some time behind the plate, and he'll catch the pitches of right-hander Bobby Parnell.
This guy can bring it. He's in the upper 90s. You can see a lot of walks mixed in there, too.
Maybe he'll have the same problem as Johnny. He hasn't pitched since the 13th in Washington when he went 2 innings and struck out 3 guys, so maybe he's a little bit too strong as well.
The Braves in this game have walked 8 men, 4 of them have scored. Ground ball up the middle. Funny hop, but Tejada stays with it. And Martin Prado's retired for out number 1.
I believe when the Mets traded Francisco Rodriguez, they kind of had their eyes set on this guy to step in and be the closer because he does have an overpowering fastball. But they're not sure yet if he's more from an emotional and attitude standpoint, confidence standpoint, if he might be better as a setup guy, you know, like the first lieutenant, not the general.
Remember Braden Looper?
Yeah.
Kind of the same idea. Here's Chipper.
Yeah, I don't think there's any question that he's got closer stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, there's something mentally about that 9th inning versus the 8th inning that just has not agreed with him.
High fly ball slicing toward the seats. Chipper's walked twice today. He's doubled home a run, and he's bounced back to the mound.
2 for 6 in his career against Parnell with 3 walks and 4 strikeouts. Parnell's one of those guys that when he pitches against every other team, there are pitching coaches and managers drooling in the other dugout saying, boy, I'd like to get him over here and let us work with him. I'd like to get my hands on him.
I mean, he's got electric stuff, and I think everybody looks at, you know, you're obviously wowed by what he brings out there, and everybody looks at an arm like that and thinks, okay, well, we could fix him or we could get him right. And
right.
You know, sometimes it's more than just a mechanical issue.
That makes for an uncomfortable at bat, doesn't it? 98 miles an hour across the shoe tops. 3 balls, 2 strikes.
Shoe tops you can move. Kneecaps are hard to move. You can get out of the way.
Good point.
Chipper's thinking, all right, I got enough issues with my knees, and they're finally feeling good. Get out of there.
He didn't go. And Chipper wins the Parnell E. Jones matchup. He's at first with 1 out. There's the wildness of Parnell. Here's Ugla. See if he can time one and clock one out of here, turn it around.
See his good work against Parnell. I think for most of these guys, the approach is just get him in a fastball count, get ahead in the count, try not to offer it anything wild early on so that you get a fastball that's got more of the middle of the plate. .100 on that one.
Dan Warthen's the pitching coach. He doesn't want to see Parnell put Ugla on and put the tying run in scoring position. Braves wouldn't mind that a bit. Fans sign up today for the 2012 Braves Fantasy Camp. A week of baseball at Disney's Wide World of Sports with Sid Bream, Javi Lopez, Steve Avery, and a certain left-handed pitcher who joins us for our home Sundays. Register today at Braves.com/fantasycamp.
That's a case where, the pitching coach goes out to maybe settle him down, but it also, in this case, might be an opportunity for the manager to send someone other than himself out there where he might get a little hot around the collar about, hey, we just got the lead back.
And you're throwing 100 miles an hour. Throw strikes.
Yeah, throw 97 or 96.
Something.
But it's 3-0. Back-to-back walks.
You said it earlier, Tom. Tim McClellan's not going to give you a borderline pitch if you're all over the place.
No, you got to show that you can throw strikes to begin with, and then you might get some of those calls.
And you're not going to get that low one from him today.
No.
Jack Wilson will pinch run for Chipper at second base now. And that'll bring up Ryan McCann. Ryan has struck out, walked twice, and he hit for a double play.
He's torn him up, 3 for 6 with a homer and a double. And Paulino called for something other than a fastball to start him. Called for a breaking ball and got it over for a strike.
Brian Go. Apparently not. 1 ball, 1 strike. The Braves have the right guy on the mound. Parnell is in a rough patch. He's blown 3 of the last 5 games he's been assigned to save. And another borderline call doesn't go his way. 2-1.
Backdoor slider just missed. So the 2 guys in front of you just walked, but you've got a chance to tie the game or get the Braves the lead back. You still want a real small strike zone. You know there's a real good chance he'll walk you. Shrink that zone down to your pitch.
Brian went. He had already tossed the bat away. Now he'll have to pick it back up and face a 3-2 count.
And that's why you don't want that to happen. Yeah, you want to get on that fastball early, but it's got to be right there, and that one wasn't. And I'm afraid he did.
He did. And, you're right, Joe, and I think part of what makes that difficult is when the guy does throw this hard, you still got to cheat to get to his fastball, even if it is in your happy zone. And when it's not, that's the kind of thing that can happen right there.
High towering fly ball right center. Friday, though, on the track. Makes the catch. Both runners tag. They're at second and third with 2 out. McCann just missed.
Looked like a slider. Well, maybe not. If it was, it certainly wasn't breaking at all.
Yeah, Brian just missed that one. He got at the head of the bat out a hair quicker. That one's in the Braves bullpen.
So here in the 8th inning, the wheels continue to turn. Brooks Conrad has been announced as the Braves pinch hitter. And Terry Collins is going to go to the mound and get the ball from Bobby Parnell. Parnell retires 2. He walks 2. The Braves have the tying run 90 feet away in the 8th. Some help from his teammate Manny Acosta, the former Brave, on now with 2 on, 2 out, and New York still in front by a 6-5 score.
Acosta on for the 40th time on the year. 3-1, 3.73 ERA. He's coming off a rough outing his last time out in Washington. Went an inning, gave up 4 hits, 4 runs, 3 earned. So we'll see how he can bounce back from that rough last time out.
Started the season with the Mets, went back to Buffalo, pitched real well, and came back with some new confidence, newborn confidence, and it's paid off for him.
Strike 1.
Great numbers there for Brooks, given the situation he usually comes up in. Costa throws hard too, if you remember. 95 plus.
Oh, 2.
Nice change up there.
Shadows starting to creep out toward home plate. They're already at the third base bag here at Turner Field. And now 1-2. It just missed. Denied. 2-2.
Hasn't thrown him a fastball yet. And you know what a good fastball hitter Conrad is. So the Mets and their scouting report following their orders too.
Paulino just saved a run with a terrific stop.
He's a huge guy, so it's hard to get one by him. Nice move to corral that.
Acosta was ahead 0-2. Now it's 3-2. Alex Gonzalez on deck.
Whatever that pitch is he's throwing, he's going to have to elevate it to get Brooks to swing at it, or he's going to have to go to another pitch. So, see what he decides to do here.
High fly ball right center. Pridey on the run is going to get there, and that retires the side. 2 deep fly balls off the bat of McCann, and Brooks Conrad cannot chase home the tying or go-ahead run for the Braves. And we're through 8 in Atlanta. New York 6, Braves 5. And another AT&T call to the bullpen. This one answered by right-hander Craig Kimbrell. He'll try to hold the Mets right there and hope for a Braves rally in the bottom half.
Yep, not a safe situation, obviously. They're trying to get through this inning, hold it right there, give the Braves offense a chance to go to work in the bottom of the 9th inning. Craig's on for the 76th time. See the numbers, 45 saves, 1.71 ERA, pitched an inning yesterday, and not surprisingly struck out all 3 guys.
Blew them away.
Jack Wilson stays in the game. Remember, he came on as a pinch runner a moment ago for Chipper Jones, so he's over at third base. And the Mets will have their 2, 3, and 4 hitters coming up. It'll start with Pridey. Jason is 0 for 4 today. A 4-strikeout day for Pridey. 1 away in the 9th.
Braves head down to Florida after the game today to take on the Marlins. Last meeting of the year between these 2 teams, and they will get 3 tough pitchers, Nolasco, Sanchez, and Vasquez, on consecutive days. Minor, Delgado, and Lowe scheduled for the Braves. Randall Delgado on Tuesday will be looking for his first win.
And that Wednesday game will be the happiest day in Braves history, perhaps. Final game ever at Dolphin Stadium.
Oh, I don't think that compares at all to the celebration we had when we left Shea Stadium for the last time.
Pop up. Freddie Freeman has that one measured up. And David Wright's retired for the 2nd out.
that day when you're leaving Shea and you got to tell all the rats goodbye and the stalactites are still hitting you in the head? No.
That's a good point. Well, okay, the second.
Yeah, there you go.
Happiest day. Here's Duda. Lucas today has reached twice. He's walked, he's singled, he's lined out, and he's struck out. Again, a nice find for New York. This kid has had a good second half of the year and might be a part of their rebuilding effort at Citi Field next season. That's almost not fair.
I was wondering what umpires think. You know, that when the game's over, do they go back and sit around and talk about the game and say, you know what, I think I just saw the best slider I've seen all year, or I saw the best this that I've seen all year.
Duda puts a heck of a swing on that ball and drives it to straightaway center field and gone. That's some impressive work. And 10 home runs for Lucas Duda.
Oh, it's that high rising fastball, too. Only the second home run he's given up this year, first to a left-hander.
A 97-mile-an-hour rocket over the center field fence, and now the task a little tougher for Atlanta. It's a 7-5 game, and 3 outs left for Atlanta. The inning will start with Alex Gonzalez. Gives New York an insurance run. They lead 7-5 now, heading to the bottom of the 9th inning.
Got on top of that high fastball.
Not many guys have been able to do that. Not only catch up to it, but get on top of it and drive it.
So Manny Acosta out there for New York. Alex Gonzalez, Jason Hayward, Freddie Freeman, the first 3 scheduled in the Atlanta 9th. The Cardinals play the Phillies later tonight. The Giants are 5 back in the wild card, and they're throttling Colorado 11-3. Braves' magic number is at 7. Into center. Friday battling the sun. 1 out. Here's the wild card race up to the minute.
Cardinals are 4 back of Atlanta in the loss column. They'll make up that difference in games played, I believe, on Thursday when the Braves are off.
Joe Vincius, our producer, tells me that in that 11-3 Giants lead in Colorado, they've hit 6 home runs in Coors Field.
The Giants have
6 home runs.
Wow. Where's that coming from?
Well, 2 of them came from Pablo Sandoval, both in the same inning. Jason Hayward to left. Bay can't get there. That's a start. A 1-out single for Hayward, who has a 3-hit game today. Now you're 1 long swing away from tying it, and Freddie Freeman can do that.
Freddie came into the game defensively a couple innings ago, got an at-bat, and drove in the go-ahead run in the 7th with 2 out after Gonzalez had doubled. Shadow's not a, well, it's not a welcome sight if you're a hitter, but it's not a big problem yet for the hitter, as long as you can track the ball out of the pitcher's hand and see it in flight.
Late swing. Now at 95 miles an hour. 1 ball, 2 strikes. Big innings and bases on balls have hurt the Braves today. Betts got 4 in the 4th. 3 walks in that inning off Beachy, all of them scored. An 8th inning walk, 1 of 3 issued by Johnny Venters, scored, and then Lucas Duda, a solo home run. Full count to Freeman. Two on, 1 out. That's the 8th walk the Braves have earned today. They've issued 8 today.
There may be something to this new and improved Manny Acosta with his off-speed stuff, which he's featured a lot in the last 4 hitters. But when you've got a 2-run lead and you got a 3-2 count, you go to what to me would be your at least second, if not third best pitch to try to get an out. That's kind of odd that you would do that.
Well, either he's got a tremendous amount of confidence in whatever his new pitch is, or he's got very little confidence in his fastball.
Antoine Richardson pinch runs for Freeman at first. Bourne bouncing ball to second. Evans to second, 1 throw to first, not in time. The Braves live to see another swing. And Martin Prado will be the hitter.
That was some kind of flying down the line if you're Michael Bourne. to avoid that double play. Manny Acosta has never been a guy that's known for his, I'll say, his fielding abilities. We've seen him more than once when he was with the Braves kind of panic on bunts and throw wildly. So I don't expect him to throw over to first unless it's just a, hey, I'm throwing over here. And as such, Michael Bourne could get a good jump off Manny and go.
Strike one. Ground ball to second. And the New York Mets have come to Atlanta and have played the role of the spoiler to perfection. They won game one of the series handily, and they beat the Braves in game three to win the series. 7-5 the final, and Tommy, you mentioned it, no Jose Reyes was anything but no problem for the Braves today.
Yeah, it was no, exactly. I mean, sometimes you take that guy out of the lineup and you got a little bit of a letdown, and you forget to worry about the guy who replaced him. And in this case, Ruben Tejada had a big game. Big base hit right there, scoring a run. He had the double that scored 3. So, as we see so many times, the replacement ends up having a big day, and that's our Toyota play of the game.
And that makes a winner of the Mets and Tim Burdack. Johnny Vetters takes the loss for Atlanta. The magic number remains at 7, pending the outcome of the Cardinals and Phillies, who play later on tonight. Coming up next, Braves Live comes your way here from the ballpark. We'll have post-game interviews, Freddie Gonzalez post-game sound, and all of our highlights. For Tom Glavine and Joe Simpson, Chip Carey inviting you to stay tuned for Braves Live. That's coming right up.